looking forward now to have a further question and answer session. Let me just ask a few questions that came in, and one of them is related to payments, and it's related to, for example, do we now expect that the payment situation will be quite different, considering the fact that you know, during COVID, people don't want to handle the cash, etc. What are the implications, and what are your opinions around it? So if I can kickstart this one with Warwick, taking it from a high level view, and then go back into the practical operational issues via Michael and Robert. Thank you.
The biggest problem my clients face actually is getting a bank account, and this is a real problem. And it's a particular problem for companies that wish to start up in the industry. They're young lads. They've got a clean criminal record. They've done nothing wrong. They've got finance. They've got everything together. They've got the software, and they find it difficult to open a bank account because they're new and they have no track record. And this is a barrier of entry to the market. It's very good for the people who've already in the market, but for people trying to get into the market, this is a major problem. I don't know how we resolve this. You know, it's something that it's all part of the MLRO regulations. I think it's too strenuous. I think it's ridiculous, and it's stopping business. It's stopping enterprise.
A lot of movement in different countries where we indeed see that different people are interested in, let's say, legalizing call it the e-wallet. Some of the major suppliers in the industry, even in the United States, are looking at it in order to see how they can get casino organizations to basically connect it to, let's say, their reward program, or whichever way they can introduce this. It'd be very interesting to basically understand from a practical point of view around the sports betting. Michael, any particular opinions on that? Because I'd imagine you, as a larger organization active worldwide, what are your thoughts around that, or the company's thoughts?
I think it's a very good question, in particular when you look back as to what happened in the US when they introduced the 7995 coding for the credit card payments. But what we do see now in Asia is a shift from agent business to more of a traditional B2C business, because cash collection has been very difficult for the agents during COVID, right? They were not allowed to go out. They were in lockdown, in particular in Wuhan and the gambling belt there. So that made it difficult. And so now there's a big shift to online banking and just traditional B2C transactions. But as Warwick said, it's difficult for the younger generation to actually get a bank account, right?
Oh, that's clear. Robert, you want to add any comments to it, or?
Yeah, we noticed that a lot of online betting operators offer different types of payments, especially cryptocurrencies, and this is definitely a trend that is catching up. I'm thinking also about younger generations who have difficulties creating a bank account. It's extremely easy for them to set up a wallet and pay with cryptocurrencies. But then, of course, we remain in the gray area, and we want to, see it more regulated than gray. So, I mean, it's in different countries. It's
fair enough. Thing. Fair enough. If we stay within the bubble environment of, a licensed jurisdiction, then of course it works. Absolutely. So if we talk about, for example, esports and virtual sports, if we talk about esports in general, are we going to see, how big is esports going to be? First of all, I asked the question before, is it going to integrate? Number one. Number two, if yes, is it going to be very big? If not, how big will esports become? And I'm just interested in let's say your general experiences. You're close to Italy, where let's say they bet on anything. and we have seen a lot of movement, you know, within that betting environment of betting into onto the general esports. Further thoughts?
I think if you look back as to when esports was supposed to explode and become big, it never really happened, right?
Right.
So I think operators had too high expectations as did providers, and now it's slowly coming back, and that's probably because of COVID, right? And then we have the addition of FIFA now and all the other titles that are out there, basketball, ice hockey, you name it, right? So I think that the whole spectrum from the specialized esports products that were initially only Dota, League of Legends, and Counter-Strike has shifted more to the sort of entertainment esports as opposed to the specialized esports gaming.
Right. Right.
How big is it gonna grow? I couldn't tell you.
It is, of course, difficult to predict. Personally, I believe it's going to be quite big. I believe that the whole iGaming sector is going to be, you know, going through a massive growth over the years to come. I do think that, let's say, the Z generation and the millennials are not as easy related to the betting. They're going to be much more conservative about it. But let's see what the impact is going to be versus, let's say, the automatic growth of more and more people participating. Just another question that we got from the audience. What's going to be the Asian hub? Is it going to remain the Philippines? Is it going to be another hub? What is it going to be in Asia? And Warwick, you know, with your prediction on China, you have any other prediction related to any other country in Asia? So either of you, you know, what do you think is going to be?
There's a lot of uncertainty with the Philippines.
Yeah.
And I'm based in the Isle of Man, and we have Asian operators here, and they're all increasing their staff in the Isle of Man, and we're finding that there are new licensees coming to the Isle of Man from the Philippines and Asia because of the uncertainty that exists. You know, operators hate uncertainty, and they like a good regulated environment, and the Isle of Man offers that. And the great thing about this place is we've got space, unlike some of the jurisdictions like Gibraltar, Malta. They're all very tight on space. We've got lots of space, lots of office accommodation. And so we're starting to see some of those operators from the Philippines migrate towards the Isle of Man.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have noticed a similar trend, definitely, moving towards the Isle of Man. Gibraltar, obviously, are building office towers left, right, and center, and Warwick is right. Soon they will run out of space because Spain will no longer allow for them to reclaim land from the beautiful Bay of Gibraltar, so that's going to be difficult. I think we've seen it before, the move from Manila towards Taiwan and Cambodia. Until then, China cracked down on Cambodia, and you know, the new one that is coming up now is Malaysia, possibly.
Exactly. So my prediction as well, if Malaysia is being sensible about it, it could actually create a very nice niche for itself into Asia, because it needs to be, you know, more local. But, you know, I'm still hoping that governments understand that it's much better to regulate than to prevent, as such, iGaming to happen altogether. Any of you, we're pretty much at the end. And any comments you like to make towards, let's say, where you feel you want to leave the audience with as your last word with regards to what they should be either contemplating, what they should have considered, or let's say a takeaway that you just want to leave them with?
I think the key taking is, and I don't know who the audience is, be it B2B or B2C or operators or even customers, because it's being broadcast on Facebook. I think, and Robert mentioned it in his presentation, and Biplav in his as well, is the trend is definitely going towards virtuals and esports. So if you don't have that product yet, or those products yet, you better hurry. It's sort of a similar trend to what we've seen many years ago with poker, where operators who did not jump on the train, they basically lost out. And I think the same is going to happen with virtuals and esports.
Thank you. Robert?
Yeah, I just have one advice to operators. At the end, the owners of big betting companies are also people, and some of these people always think about themselves when they want to integrate a new product, and they think, would I ever play this? No, so why should I integrate? It's a very bad way of thinking about a new product. Never say no to innovation, because the newer generations, the younger people, they have a completely different mindset and they focus on completely different things than we do. So say yes to innovation, try to try new things, because at the end, everything will become clear, and you will see in the revenues that you made a good decision.
Thank you. That also means for the land-based operators, go online. Thank you. Warwick, last word.
Well, I agree with what Robert's just said, actually. I remember when virtuals first came out, and I remember the managing directors of the major companies saying in the UK, why would people bet on cartoon racing? And of course, virtual has expanded so much now, and the technology is really great. I know people that walk into betting shops and they look at the screen and say, I didn't realize that race was on now. And it's a virtual race. They thought it was a live race. The graphics are now so good. And the great thing about virtual is that it's a consistent product. It's not like horse racing where you have meetings cancelled because of bad weather. And we get a lot of bad weather in the UK, particularly in the winter. So it's a product that the consumer can take on demand when the consumer wants it. And that's the strength of virtual.
Thank you. Well, I'd like to thank you all very much. I believe there have been a lot of interesting takeaways given today related to the situation, what has happened, and going forward. I'd like to thank Reed for organizing this and the whole G2E Asia team. My major conclusion out of all of this and listening to everyone, as well as being in constant touch with many people in the market, I just hope that there is a way that we can, let's say, spread the good news about what gaming can do in regulated environments, instead of seeing it as fake news or seeing it as something that people should fight. I believe that we all that are active in the industry have a duty to help towards this target. And I specifically would like to ask the people in Asia, don't see this just as a money game or as something that keeps you busy. I'd like to really figure out a way how we can all combine our strengths and interests into making a much better story towards the regulators and countries, to basically say, let us help you in order to come into an environment that helps all of you, because the taxes raised would be absolutely massive, and I think to the contribution of all. For that, I want to leave it with this. Again, thank you very much. Appreciate it. You audience, thank you, and looking forward to continue this conversation on or offline. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Harmen, for hosting.
Take care.
Good job, Harmen.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye-bye.